Welcome back to the 5th episode of TikiTalk. We had a bit of a less eventful weekend, but it's still going to be fun over here. So what did you guys get up to over the weekend? Big one?
Well, I mean, just sit down and watch some footy, you know how it is.
Yeah,
Bank holiday Mondays.
I mean, me and Cruz went to the Arsenal game. We'll get on to that later, but that was our Saturday evening. Played a bit of footy. But yeah, mainly just caught up with all the games and just chilled out really. Nice long weekend.
Yeah, the ones that were on weren't, I wouldn't say the most interesting, but there were some really interesting 3pms that we obviously weren't watching. We'll start with City, because I think they'll be the eventual champions. We'll get to Liverpool, but City had a ridiculous performance. I mean, Palace are notoriously a side that seemed to do very well against City, particularly at the Etihad, and it seems to be that was going to be the same case again at half-time, 2-0 up without Zaha, and that goes to show you how far Vieira's taking them. I mean, to be able to put that performance in without their star man that's been there for years now, it's quite an impressive performance from them. But in the second half, City came back as champions do, and that robot's looking ominous.
Scary. He's goddamn scary, isn't he? I mean, with that tweet today saying that the managers are calling off each other. I can imagine the phone call. Like, imagine just everyone going like, "What do we do with the robot? Like, what are you supposed to do against him?" Really. Last week I mentioned about like, can he deal with a low block? Yeah, there we go. Proven right there.
Yeah, no, it's like I think we spoke about in the first pod exactly that, and it's like City. He knows where to be. You saw that for the one. Was it the first one? Whichever one it was. Stones.
Oh, I love that goal.
Yeah.
They are so patient with everything.
And he was just there in the right place, and that's what we said. He's going to be in the right place to score chances that in the past City wouldn't have had a man there. Obviously, Aguero aside, maybe last season wouldn't have had a player in that position. So that's why he's going to get so many goals. I think.
I do feel that Stones was accidental though. No?
Yeah, that was accidental.
No,
yeah.
we're not going with this.
He hasn't.
He has meant that. He's that composed.
He hasn't
Stones.
He hasn't picked him.
First centre back on the team sheet for the England team.
Making up for his own goal, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. But it was the third. Was it the third? The hat-trick goal that was the one that really cemented. Not that I needed any confirmation that he's an unreal player, but it was just a goal that you've seen the best strikers kind of score and shrugging off a defender and just burying it with utter confidence. It was pretty incredible how powerful but nonchalant it was. It was just top striker's goal, top G.
He's a bully. That's what he is. He's got every single characteristic you want in a striker. He's got the physical stats, the technical stats, like everything you think. If you made a dream striker, what would you do? There he is, right there. Beautiful.
Yeah, I don't think there's many players in the league that finish that goal in such an accomplished way. The way, like you say, the way he shrugged off Joel Ward like he wasn't there. Very little backlift, and then just it's in the bottom corner and it's game over. He's just class act.
Yeah, I love the celebration as well. He's got a lot of emotion for a cyborg. It's quite incredible.
Yeah, they've programmed him well, actually.
Yeah, they have.
Very well.
Yeah, I don't even know what the next upgrade is going to be. To be honest,
like iRobot.
Yeah, he needs to install like Pep's little files. I mean, what he's going to have for him is going to be. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be quite scary for the rest of the league, but we'll just have to enjoy him as neutrally as we possibly can. But you also had Liverpool bouncing back. They've had a really tough start to the season, but they got their first win off the mark against Norwich in red and black, who were, as expected, utter shite. But some of the goals were very good. Trent getting the pick of the bunch. I thought it was a cute celebration. It was very cute. It's all right doing it at home to Bournemouth. Let's see it against Vinny or Alanga even. But I thought that was interesting. But they were very good. And Bobby Firmino, someone who last week I happily said is absolutely finished. He wound up with an excellent performance. Although that being said, it is Norwich in red and black.
But I'm still fuming of this no Salah contribution.
I know. I think everyone had him captained on fantasy football in the whole world.
In the mud.
Yeah,
mud.
I'm actually in shock. And to be fair, he missed 2 open goals. I swear. Basically, it was horrific.
I know. XG wise, he was up there.
I think
he had more than the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Right, and I probably have more than Haaland or similar, and Haaland comes out of a hat trick and he comes out with nothing. So disappointing.
I'd love to know the odds on Liverpool to win 9-0 with Salah not to score.
Oh, mental!
They must have been astronomical because 9-0 is going to be high enough anyway. Although maybe a bit less than normal with a fixture like that. But they bounced back very well and they needed that quite clearly. Harvey Elliott got a goal. Yeah. He's been impressing us. We've said he's looked like the best midfielder of the lot. And
quite emotional as well for him with his nan dying as well. That was pretty sad, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I didn't.
I wasn't about to laugh.
You can't laugh.
I wasn't about to laugh. No, I was about to laugh because I didn't know that. So it just took me aback that suddenly we went there. All right, okay, just to clarify. I wasn't laughing. Anyone's dead nan. I was laughing because I was surprised because I didn't know that information.
Anyway, great performance.
Yeah,
great performance,
also,
Harvey Elliott.
All right, yeah,
great performance.
no, top player.
And Firmino, can we just say, 100 goals for Liverpool? He was only 20 off. I think it's 25 goals off Mane, which is you wouldn't think that. Like I feel like
He's
Firmino's
been there before all of them, to be fair.
yeah, but you know
you don't associate him with goals, do you?
No, he's
Yeah.
a man that roulettes the ball into the path of the strikers, really, the inside forwards.
And I think he doesn't score at Anfield, does he? I think that's his thing. He only really scores away from home.
He's reverse
weirdly
Arsenal
enough.
striker.
Yeah.
Exactly. We need
Well, that's what you need,
maybe
really.
sign him up.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Get involved. 2 Brazilians up top.
But yeah, Diaz amongst the goals.
Very good.
Nice.
Both headed.
Yeah.
Were they both headed? Yeah.
Didn't realise he's got a head on him. He's quite like, you know, Mane was quite good in the back post header, and I was like, think maybe they would miss that out, but look at that.
He's
2
quite-
beautiful guided headers.
Yeah, he's kind of got that South American
Spring.
tenacity to
Yeah.
get to the ball, isn't he? That determination. They're back
He's got
on.
that dog in him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. No, they're back on. They seem back on track, Liverpool. But like you say, it is only Bournemouth.
Yeah.
But you know, to score 9,
And Carvalho got off the mark as well.
Yeah.
Talented player.
Well, I've been saying to my housemate who's a big Liverpool fan, I was saying, look at Carvalho. He comes on every game and he will do a nice technical volley, but he'll miss it. I mean, he misses it, and this is the week. A bit like Rob Holding, always had a million headers every game. He'd come on, head it over the bar.
Rudiger 40-yard shot.
Yeah, and you'd be.
Exactly.
And Carvalho had. He had. To be fair, last week's was a half volley, but still sort of counts. Finally got his volley goal. So you know what I mean? Like that's his trademark move. Just the Carvalho volley each game.
No, it was lovely, and obviously after the game there were no words of dry pitches or anything like that from Klopp, which was it was no need for it today.
Did you see? What do you think of after the game or right at the end of the game? Klopp kind of put his arm around Parker.
I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
You lot know I'm all for slandering them at any opportunity given, really. And I didn't see anything in it. His team just got smashed 9-0. He's just being nice.
Yeah, I think some people said it was obviously patronising.
I know, but how else can you not? It's always going to come across as patronising if you're tapping someone after a 9-0. I don't know. It wasn't the Ollie Mourinho head pat, to put it that way.
No, I
didn't see
didn't
anything in it,
I didn't
yeah.
think so either.
No, I think there was nothing to it. To be honest with you, I think it's just Klopp. He's just a huggy guy, you know. He just wants to probably feel sorry for a manager and understands where he's coming from. You know how he's probably feeling at that moment after getting smashed 9-0.
Yeah. I mean, Scotty P's got a tough season ahead. I saw, interestingly, some of his quotes were, they said, is that the worst it's going to be? He was like, I think we're going to have a few more of them this season. So when your manager's saying that, it doesn't fill you with hope. But he looks good in the cardigan, doesn't he? So,
Yeah,
you know, it could be worse.
It's a bit of a rogue cardigan, isn't it? A couple of stripes on the arm. I'm not a fan.
Oh, really?
I'm not a
He needs
fan.
to get the badge in, though.
He does need to get the badge in, but I don't know. Even I rate his trim, but the cardigan, I'm not
He's
sure.
a decent looking bloke.
He pulls it off.
Yeah,
I think he pulls it off. But we had our Saturday night fixture, which you guys touched on, that you were at. Arsenal versus Fulham. Bit more of a test this week for the Arsenal.
Yeah.
And it proved to be a bit more of a test, to be fair.
I felt like we both sort of were thinking this is going to be a harder game than maybe people would have thought originally. But to be honest with you, I liked the performance. I don't know, Guy, how you felt, but the atmosphere at the Emirates, I know you mentioned it like a couple of weeks back, but wow, that is the best I've seen us. I mean, literally the amount of shit I've been through and like how much it's changed over time. It's so nice to see. Just everyone just singing Saliba and this chanting before the game. The prime juice was out, you know, great. It was crazy.
Yeah, you picked up a nice prime.
Yeah, I had a
didn't you?
lovely prime tropical. They only tropical punch is the only one they sell though. Yeah, which was my favourite. Guys, not your favourite, is it?
Yeah, not my favourite, but support the red.
Sponsor us, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Support the red.
Didn't even me have a correlation.
That's why.
That's
I
the
didn't
red one,
that
it's-
makes sense.
It's only the
Okay.
red one that they sell, really.
That's it, yeah.
But yeah, no, like you say, you only really get a feel for what sort of positive energy there is around the club when you go to a game.
Yeah, of course.
And like outside the ground before the game, you know, half time. Ordinarily, if we were, I know it's because we'd won the previous 3, but if we were 0-0 against Fulham at half time, there'd be loads of groans at half time.
Yeah.
But all the players were clapped off because I think we did play well. I mean, it was a bad mistake from Gabriel. Shocking.
He has those in the locker.
Yeah, but he's not a ball-
Like, as
he's
in,
not a ball-
I do look at him. I think you're not going to be. If Arsenal do go on to succeed in the future, you will not be part of that.
But he
backline,
gave
no.
us the full spectrum of a Gabriel performance. Like I think he was number 1 for goals errors leading to goals, and he's also number 1 goal scoring centre back or defender. So it literally that sums up his game really. He's threatening the box and also threatening our own box. That's a Gabriel. That's Gabriel for you really.
Yeah, he's not a ball playing defender at all. But when we saw the team sheet, when we heard that Partey was out, we were a little bit concerned, weren't we?
Yeah.
And
Zinchenko.
I thought the left back.
He
that
made
was
a-
a big
he made a
miss, wasn't
massive
it?
difference.
Because all of it was a lot more down your right side this game. There was obviously so much fun going on the first few games of the season. I thought with Martinelli and Jesus thinking up, Jesus was quite quiet. I felt the first 15, 20 minutes you were very on top. Fulham managed to grow into it, and Jesus had a bit of a... I wouldn't say it was really in the game after that. I actually thought Eddie coming on was kind of what really brought you back into it. Ødegaard was persistent throughout. I thought he was constantly trying to break the lines, trying to force a chance out of something, and obviously eventually got the goal with that deflected effort. But I thought actually Eddie's runs were sort of changing the game more, which is surprising just because of how good Jesus has been, obviously. But I thought Saka was more involved this game than maybe Martinelli. It seemed to be more down that side.
I do feel Saka, but he wasn't it was still, he had a chance. I don't think he was that effective, even though he was more involved.
Yeah.
I do want to touch on Ødegaard. I know there was a bit of chat about, we'd like to see Vieira in and stuff like that. But for me, I've always been, I've got his name on the back of my shirt. I love what he brings to the pitch. His mastery of the football is a joke. Like,
yeah.
I think not until if you really like play football, you don't realize how hard it is, how he can just manipulate the ball, his vision, like how he can pick a pass, and he just understands. I just don't even know how you can do that. Like he just has a pure technique of football, which I don't think many people in the Prem really have. There are some, obviously,
he's very technical.
Yeah, and I think that, and also a player who runs the most in our squad. In the first game week, he ran more than any other PL player that week. Like that's what you want. You've got the high work rate, a technical player. You get
high work rate.
High work rate. Yeah. Sorry, a bit of FIFA throwback for that. I used to always love a high work rate in FIFA. But anyway, he and I feel he led by example. That's why we talk about captains on here, and he's not going to be one of those shouty. Like throw your hands up gestures, though he does occasionally. He's won by leads by example. He covers every inch on the ground, and and that's what you sort of want from your captain. I think leading by example.
That's where I disagree, because I spoke to you guys in the past, and that I don't look at him as a captain. I see Xhaka as the captain of that team completely, and it's not just to do the shouty thing. I also think captains have to be consistent. And I think Ødegaard's a really good player. I think he's incredibly technical, but I think there's a lot of...
Is Xhaka consistent?
No, he's not. But I don't think you really have one. Like a true, that's your captain, that's who you need. Maybe in the
I don't think in modern day Prem there is many true captains, out and out captains who have like pure leadership. I think that comes from the manager these days. If you think of like Man City, I think Pep is more your captain than Ruben Diaz or
I think Gundogan's a very consistent player though. Like, you know what you get from him.
Yeah, maybe a consistent player, but you could argue a lot of City players are pretty consistent. But I think the one who's going to be the motivating one, I feel that the role of a captain's now evolved into the manager. The manager's more your captain, your motivator, your leader. While back in the day, I think Roy Keane used to say the managers we control the dressing room rather than the managers being the one who go in and like they're the ones like Arteta loses his voice after every game or like half time,
Yeah. No, I do get it. I just think with Ødegaard, I think he's class when he wants to be. But I think at the moment, I very much see him as someone who, when the going got tough at Tottenham or Newcastle, disappearing act. And there's a lot of games that do pass him by, and I don't know if that's quite a captain's trait for me personally. But I guess time will tell.
Yeah, we'll see.
But he was very good. He was very, very good on Saturday. And someone else who was very good. I mean, he had limited service to deal with, but I've missed watching Diego Costa. I've missed watching him. I thought Mitro was just him. He's literally him in disguise at this point. Like, some of the battles he was having with Saliba, and Saliba was getting the best of them a lot of the time, but it's just the fact he's continually contesting it and then picking up and being smart enough as a striker to look at Gabriel, see him as the weak link and think, okay, stick on your side now for the rest of the game. And even some of his link-up play was very good. There were times where he went down to frustrate the crowd, to frustrate Arsenal players, to kill that momentum. Obviously, he got the winner in the end, but there was a lot I really liked about his performance individually. I thought he was so good.
The ref didn't give him much.
No.
He went down quite a lot of times, and there was a point in the second half when he went down and he came off injured. He naturally, as a player comes off to the touchline, fans give him a bit of a boo, and as they did, he cupped his ears and was like doing that, and he got absolute dog's abuse.
I love him. Honestly,
and it was funny because it was right near where we were sat, and it was funny.
Yeah, he's a real top striker to have in the league. I'm really enjoying him this season.
I think Fulham, they're a good side. They're a good side. I think they're playing Brighton this week. I'm not sure, but I think that'd be a really good, interesting battle. Right. I also think, a question to ask to the panel: do we think Arsenal are genuine title contenders?
No.
Guy?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet. Ooh. Divulge.
That defence. I look at the keeper. I look at the defenders.
We've played pretty duff teams.
Yeah,
as well.
Fulham was the first test, and you just about. And also, I will point out, it was lucky to get that goal allowed as well. I thought Saliba hit his hand. You'd think that would be a handball.
No.
I know it's because it's gone to the second person, but
That's the.
I think a lot of people.
Laws.
It is the laws, but I think people were surprised that was given. I'm saying there was fortuity involved in that goal, and it was a tight game, and that's Fulham at home. That was more of a test. But yeah, I think it affirmed to me a lot of my belief in that. I think going forward, you're very good. I think your squad's a little light in midfield.
I think
you
the
can
squad
get injuries, and I think Zinchenko made a big difference not playing for sure.
Yeah,
but
because Tierney was trying to do the thing that Zinchenko does, drifting into midfield, and it wasn't the same.
It wasn't.
he's an overlapper, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly, and like a cut it back merchant. But Zinchenko's a much better footballer than he is, so he's a big miss.
I just feel our squad depth it lacks. I think we need another midfielder and a winger. Like when we were talking about players to bring
for
on
title challenges. This is me saying you're a good side. I just think in terms of winning a league,
We're nowhere near City, are we?
But
who is?
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like if we just brought in to like really, like we were talking about options to come on, like I feel like there was only really, I think he's only got trust in Eddie Nketiah. Really, he didn't bring on Smith Rowe. There's a lack of faith in some of his players to actually come on and impact the game, and I think that's where we maybe need another winger or midfielder to sort of like having Mo, like El Neni. Love the guy. I love him because he's going to always run his heart.
I don't
out.
think he's a bad backup six. I don't think he's.
But it's like if you're ever going to take a next step, you need to have another midfielder who's going to come in and be and bring that impact. I felt there was a.
It's not Calvin Phillips on the bench.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, but it's tricky. I think it's more like the centre backs, like Saliba. I think it's class, but the other two, I don't think. I think if Arsenal were to be challenging for league titles in the future / winning them, Ben White and Gabriel, I don't think would be a part of it, and I don't think the keeper would either, if I'm honest.
He's not the keeper, even though he made two good saves.
He did make two good saves, and his distribution can be excellent. But equally, when he punted Mitrovic in the face, that could fly in anywhere. Like he does have these moments that seem to happen. And
ropey.
Yeah, I think Arsenal look like a really good side, but not that level.
Yeah. If we're top, I know this is a if buts and maybes. If we're top in February, I might start to believe.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
I would still disagree because we have a lot of all the big games at home this half the season. We're going to struggle massively. I think we have like 3 of the like Liverpool, City, and Tottenham away in a space of 3 weeks at the back end of March, which is going to be a real struggle, especially in Europa League.
Europa kicks in, and
we have all the nice. To be honest with you, we're not in the top 4 by this half. So like January, we're definitely not in the top 4 because the back end of back end of this season is going to be a real problem.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, that United game will be interesting in a few weeks. Now that they've picked up a bit of form. I mean, it was an early start. It wasn't the best game, to be honest. It was basically one bit of individual quality from Bruno Fernandes. Lovely finish, by the way. It was actually a really nice move. Nice cross from Dello. But there wasn't a lot to the game, other than maybe you could talk about the controversy of the handball. What did you think? I mean, how many... Did you need a third hand?
Yeah. I know, it's just like juggling.
Yeah.
He was juggling, honestly.
The juggling circus, act, yeah. I mean, McTominay is a member of the circus, proud member.
Yeah,
but
nice. I thought it was a pen.
I thought it was just about a pen. When it hit the first hand, I was like, that might be a pen. And then when it hit the other one, I think that is a pen.
It's not a natural position, is it? When you start sort of slapping the ball.
A bit of basketball going on.
It was weird. I thought it was a pen. But like you say, the difference between the two teams was one moment of quality in the whole match, really. That's what Southampton don't have, attacking quality. If it's not a Ward-Prowse set piece, then... They haven't really got much.
Joe Aribo, maybe.
Yeah, I thought Stuart Armstrong played quite well, to be honest with you. But again, it's I feel a lot of issues they have with these mid-table / relegation teams is like a true out striker. I did think though we were shitting on Southampton's defence for the last few weeks. I thought we've
also been shitting on Man United.
Go for his name.
Bella Kotchap?
Bottle of ketchup.
Bottle of ketchup. Yeah. He. I thought he was great. And Gineppo, like a left back, Gineppo, I thought he was a threat and he defended all right. I was like pleasantly surprised after me shitting on the defence for this long that they actually can defend. So
there was that bit of play where I don't even know how many shots on goal it was, but it felt like a complete barrage in the space of 20 seconds United had in the first half, where I don't know how 4 of them didn't go in. Basically, it was pretty elite defending.
Yeah, the keeper did look quite good.
Did very well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bazunu, is it Bazunu?
Yeah,
I didn't realise how young he was.
Yeah, and he's Irish.
No, short sleeves as well.
Never trust
bad
him.
trait.
Never trust the short sleeve.
Yeah.
Ramsdale wears
better
short sleeves.
Better than jogger bottoms.
Karai, do you remember Karai with his jogger bottoms? What a legend!
Absolute legend of the game.
I do quickly want to touch on United as well. I think they sort of changed a bit how they played, and the wingers were sort of occupying that sort of in those Kevin De Bruyne spaces a bit more. They're in between like the centre back and the right back, and so we either bring him in and letting like Dalot sort of have the overlap and have this free reign to sort of whip in balls, which sort of inevitably led to the goal with Bruno Fernandes. And I thought that was quite maybe something new that United have. I haven't seen United do before, and also Ronaldo is cooked.
I was about to touch on the substitutions. I thought Casemiro, in the very little he had to do, looked very classy. There was a little bit in the corner where he just sort of...
He got megged.
Yeah, but he tidied up someone running him on the wing, and then he just chipped it through, and then United managed to break. I was like, that's what you're going to do. You're going to break up the play very well. But yeah, I thought Ronaldo... There was a sad moment, where Ronaldo is bursting through on goal, and is quite easily caught, and you're like, oh, wow, I'm that old, am I?
Yeah, you have to rub your eyes and be like, this is really almost the end now.
Final embers.
He also did a ridiculous. He could have just played Rashford in, but he was like, "I'm going to push Rashford out wide so you can cross it in for a tap in." And I was like,
"That's what what Henri said. That's what Trezeguet used to do. Apparently.
Yeah.
He used to pass it deliberately wide, so that you'd have to cross it back into him. It felt like that, didn't it?
No, it did. Yeah, I mean, he was literally through with one simple pass, but yeah, I mean, that's how I think it's a bit. He looks a bit desperate on the pitch nowadays. I think, but his ball retention was horrific as well.
Yeah. But yeah, it seems like Ten Hag's tweaked it a little bit, trying not to play quite as he probably wants to play in order to get some results. I think.
It reminds me of Ollie Ball. I'm not even joking. Like when Ollie Ball, when Ollie Ball was good in terms of them just trying to be as quick and breaking behind, counter-attacking side as much as possible. Like it's not. It's a lot better, or it will be a lot better in the future now they've got these new players coming in. Obviously, Antony's just joined the club. He's going to spin around in circles for a bit.
Love that's a great skill. It looks great.
No, he does look fun. I watched him a bit for Ajax last season.
Skill is it looks great. I mean, obviously you're never going to use that on a football pitch, but I'm saying it's just quite cool.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, I've seen these to pass it back to the fullback. Whatever.
I think, I mean, Ajax, they must be laughing out there. 170 million.
I don't know, they've lost him and Martinez now.
Yeah, but they 100 million
a lot of money,
for, I think, I've read it was 6 goals, 4 assists.
I know, but he's a fun player to watch.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
You're playing for the goals, you're playing for the spins.
Yeah, but this day, we talked about it last week, this day and age, fun plays, they just don't exist. It's all about efficiency. And I just think, I don't know, to be honest, we'll see what happens. I could be wrong.
I don't know. From what I saw last season at Ajax, I watched him a fair bit just because he seemed like an exciting player. The only question I would have is that he is quite similar to Sancho in terms of what a winger provides. He's creative. He's not the fastest. He's not going to get in behind loads. He's not like that explosive winger you'd expect to pair with a Sancho. But he has a bit more pace about him that he could do that, and he definitely has the skill to beat a few players. I think he's going to be a really fun player to have in the league, to be honest. Yeah,
and I guess this means that they're going to probably persist with Rashford up front, which will be...
Yeah, or Martial when he's back, and maybe Rashford,
or Martial. I don't know. And I don't think neither of those two players fill you with much confidence as a number 9, do they? Rashford and Martial.
No, you can't back Martial's fitness either, even though he's actually looked all right when he came on, like I said, against United. But we had the Chelsea, and we had a good weekend. Finally.
Happy Toves. Yeah.
Happy Toves. Not when I saw the team sheet, though. Oh. When I saw the team sheet, I went, oh my God, it's the same as Leeds, other than Koulibaly out for Trevor. But then I did think he might be playing a 4, and he was playing a 4. I worried about Gallagher starting in a pivot. I should have worried about him starting in a 3 as well, because, oh my God, it was Bakayoko. I was getting flashbacks to Bakayoko.
Is it that bad?
Oh, mate, I don't know if you've seen. I assume you've seen the highlights, but they just showed the yellows. His actual performance was really poor. Like every time he got the ball, it's like hot potato with him. Like, he can't keep trap a football. He can't just keep hold of it, play a simple pass to recycle possession. It was really bad, and George was getting left exposed anyway. And then he goes and makes this stupid foul for the first yellow. And the second yellow, I couldn't even believe it. I mean, it's poor from Cucurella to just hit it inwards. But there was like 4 people rushing back. It was completely fine. And he goes... It's not even one of those ones where I can go, oh, it's a bit of a harsh second yellow. Nah. Full on, just cleans him out.
It was like an orange in itself.
It was, It was right on his ankle. Yeah. It was awful. And he came off and I thought... After the week Lodge just had, and you've done this, you put us with 10 men after 20 odd minutes, in any game in the Premier League, even against Norwich and Red and Black, I'd be a bit worried about getting 3 points. Maybe less so then, but any other team in the Premier League. So I was very, very happy with them to get 3 points because they played well, and even prior to the red card, like his performance was really bad, but they were playing quite well. Everything was good. Sterling looked he looked one of the less sharp players on the pitch in the first half, but everyone else was linking up very well. And then second half, Tuchel changed the formation back to a 3. Took Mount off, And I actually think we had a lot more space up top, and Havertz and Sterling were actually doing really well just playing as a two up top. There was a lot more space for the wide players in Reece and Cucurella, and both of them were instrumental in the goal. George didn't have this Gallagher near him having some babysitting for the game, so he had space in midfield. Both the goals orchestrated through him as well. Really impressed just because of the fight that it takes. We had to ride our luck at times for sure. Like there was a goal actually right at the end of the first half that they said was a foul. I get why it was a foul, but if I'm honest, I thought Mendy was still sus on it, to be honest.
I actually thought it was a foul.
I thought it was a foul. I thought it was soft.
I
Did
thought
you?
it was quite clear. Yeah, I thought he had his arm all over his the back of his.
Maybe I'm turning on him, and that's
maybe you're looking for.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
I thought it was a foul, but I can see why
blatant.
people would argue it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, fair enough. I thought it was a clear foul, but yeah.
Yeah. But on the goal, he did do well during the game. This was the thing, because I don't have an agenda against anyone. And I just thought Kepa would play just because of like we spoke on last week. Keep players in check. You need to maintain your level. And he did very well. There's a few Vardy chances where he made good runs in behind. Chalobah wasn't quite as aware as our other centre backs who usually start. But he managed to take Vardy wide on two of them very well. So he actually did very well there. It's just the goal was a bit of a shame because I thought near post.
Yeah, you can always do something. Always question marks. Yeah.
Especially when it's not like, I don't know, like an absolute rocket into the top of the net. It was like, it sort of ends up in the centre of the goal, and you're like, how's that gone in? But and Sterling off the mark, which was lovely to see.
I had to eat my words, don't I? Really?
Well, not really. He got a whole course of a season. He could be shy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Two nice finishes.
The Sterling, the second one is how many times have you seen that goal?
I actually think talking about that goal is from watching the game, Reece and Cucurella for me are your two best players, really. As in how we talk about the importance of your fullbacks, but wow, they create all your chances. You mentioned last week about the right centre back Reece. It just kills him. Get him on that right wing back. He's so much more effective. I thought Cucurella, he does that pass like inwards, fizzes them in, and it's like a really nice. It's a threat. They're both by far your biggest threats, I think, really.
Yeah, absolutely. But this was the case. That's what I touched on last year with Chilwell. It's like our system is so reliant on the wing backs for goals and assists. Like they do everything, especially because the front three struggle for them. So it's just so much of our reliance does come from there. But another player, you touched on some of our best players, and like I said, they're incredibly imperative in that system. But Thiago Silva, obviously, I watched the game and. The guy's it's just different gravy. Like there was a bit of play for about 2 minutes or 3 minutes. I was so hoping Match of the Day showed it, but they didn't. He made like 5 or 6 interceptions and blocks within the space, and he was just ridiculous. He's one of these players I feel really blessed to have at the club because it's a surreal one, isn't it? Over the years, we've watched him in bits and pieces, Champions League more than anything, PSG, and like having him here, I'm like, this guy is just. You're 30, you're 39.
And he's played he's played in Serie A and like the French league, and it's like, could you really cut it in the Prem? And then he's come here, like say when he came 37 when he came, and like just looks fantastic.
Van Persie said that he's his toughest centre back he played against until he went to United, and it was like Rio and Vidic at the hardest. But
that's in the contract, I think. They say that about Rio and Vidic.
But he said Thiago Silva is the highest defender he's ever come against. Yeah, and I can say the thing is about Thiago Silva, he gets it. He understood. He came.
He's just a winner.
Yeah,
he's just a winner. Some players have a different mentality, like we spoke on before, and like there are certain players in our squad I think their heads go down when they lose, and that's why I pointed out last week when he had a bad game, because like it's bad if he's having a bad game, because he's one of these players that regardless of everyone else's level, he doesn't acclimatise to that and start playing badly. He tends to stand out with his performances. But yeah, very happy Tobes, because it was not a nice week the previous week, and it was a stressful start, but we got through it.
Where do we think Chelsea will finish? Like, you've had a bit of a few games now. Do we think? I mean, it's been a bit of a mix, sort of. Some games you're turning up, some games you're not so much. I mean, what do we feel like? Are you still confident about top 4? Or?
Yeah. If I'm honest, I look at. I don't think Spurs are getting top 4. I know we will touch them because they've had an amazing start, but I don't worry about them, partly because of the game we played against them. But now I'm really relieved that Fofana signing means we get permanent Reece James at right wing back, because that's the only reason that was ever happening, is that we didn't have this right-sided centre-back. Dave's a bit old, Chalobah a little bit less trustworthy, but now you've got that there. I mean, as a defence, as a back 5, I'm very happy with that. And now it's about, what can we do moving forward with the rest of them. But I wouldn't put it this way. I wouldn't rule out us coming 5th. That's not something that I think, that's impossible. That's not going to happen, because Spurs can develop. But yeah, we'll touch on Spurs because we've brought that up.
God, I hate them.
They're so boring. Honestly, their games are so boring. Even yesterday's game was like a relatively exciting game. Like it was quite end to end, but it's
Forest were good.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's still boring. Like I just find them so dull.
They're just pure counter attack, aren't they?
Yeah, I think the way that I think it was quite commendable the way that Forest tried to play, but they were pretty naive. Like they flooded men forward, and it couldn't have suited Spurs' style any better. Like it was Conte was really getting really frustrated on the sideline about how Spurs weren't taking advantage of any of the counter attacks in the second half. They could easily have scored 2, 3, 4 in the second half, but they just weren't clinical at all. I thought Forest were pretty naive in that sense.
Yeah, I do agree, and it was enjoyable to see someone properly, going at them. But
it was.
it suits Spurs, doesn't it?
Yeah, it basically did it. I mean, it gave the front three all the time and space they needed to be really threatening. But I mean, to be honest with you, it was like I was thinking at 1-0, I was like, anything could happen here. But I feel with Tottenham though, they just really hard teams to break down and score. That's my issue.
Definitely.
And I know they play shit football and they're a horrible watch, but they're grinding out results. And you didn't really feel like Nottingham Forest were going to score.
I never thought for 1 minute Spurs were not winning that game.
Yeah.
From minute one. But as soon as they started bombing forward, you could just see it. I mean, it wasn't the case that Son's a bit out of sorts, but if Son was in the form he was in the back end of last season, that is a 3 or 4-0 game, like you said earlier. He's still been a bit on the periphery in those games. Kane's been the one making the differences. But yeah, with Spurs, what you have to commend is that they are not a team that is dominated by not having possession. They aren't arsed. They don't care. They're happy to sit back.
They're comfortable.
They're comfortable saying, we'll soak this up. And you will make a mistake, and we'll punish you. And we have strikers who are good enough to punish you and be clinical. And that's probably Conte's frustration in that second half. So I do have a bit of appreciation there, but I just think the amount of quality they've got. I mean, yeah, Kane and Son can be immense. Kulusevski is a good player by all means.
Yeah, he's good.
Richarlison can be good, but I don't know. I look at them overall. I've said it before, but I see Conte's second season in it more than first season, to be honest.
But I don't know. Like for me, I just saw they've got the perfect balance of someone who knows how a team that can defend well and then they counter. And I feel teams they get when especially like at home, you get like hungry. You're gonna want to attack. You're gonna want to press. I'm actually worried about us at home against them in a few weeks' time.
That'll be an interesting matchup because you're kind of stylistically opposite.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to press high, and like it depends if Tottenham can withstand such pressure. But that's the thing for me. I'm thinking, wow, they're just going to sit back. We're going to struggle to score. They're going to counter, and I'm going to be there fuming. And that's my worry with it because a lot of teams will play that's a way which sort of suits Spurs. Yeah. It's sort of people especially in the Premier League, like attacking football now. They try and pass out at the back. They try and press. They try and score goals, and that sort of suits Spurs a lot. And that's my worry that they could actually be a big threat because of that.
I get that, but I would also like to completely refer again. Yeah, they drew the game, but you watched us play them. I mean, we had chances as well, more than just those 2 goals. Like you can get at them if you have a bit of quality. You can get at them because other than that, Wolves don't have quality going forward, and they made a game of it. Southampton, we call shit every week.
We'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
Something interesting that came up from that game. I'll be interested to get your guys' thoughts on it. Richarlison showboating. Mm-hmm. How do we feel about showboating generally in football? Is it acceptable? I mean, we all loved, I'm sure, seeing Brennan Johnson absolutely clatter him. That was great, but is it acceptable on the football pitch? Yes or no?
Yes. All day. Well, mate, when I saw Neymar getting booked for doing a rainbow flick, I was like, what the fuck has gone on here?
Yeah. I'm not saying acceptable in terms of the referees putting their foot down, but
it's a show. It's entertainment as well.
I think it gives character to the game.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the thing is with Richarlison, everyone just thinks he's a massive prick. So it's like you sort of I mean, you have to have someone coming in just whacking him afterwards. That's sort of like it adds to the whole spectacle. But showboating is just soccer AM. You'd get it on. People show. Yeah, show.
I'm all for it. I know some people have said it's like disrespectful and bloody blah, and there's no.
It's quite a your dad thing.
There's no place for it in the football pitch. True.
Do you know what I mean? Like the idea of people wanting to eradicate showboating from the game is like.
Because Steve Cooper said, "I wouldn't want my players doing that." That's what he said.
Yeah.
But, well, they should just for the ban.
Probably because they're not capable.
Yeah, maybe not. Although they're making a lot of signs. I mean, Loddy's just joined, and now they're looking at Willy Bolly.
Renan Loddy, what the hell?
I know, what sign
a proper Champions League player.
Good player.
I don't. Where are they pulling these signings from?
19 signings. Is that a record? That's got to be quite PL record.
It is as if Steve Cooper, they've literally just said, "Who do you want?" He went, "Yeah,
Yeah.
all of them."
I've got a short list. How many? You can have all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you know what I really like to see? A bit of blast from the past, a keeper hat on. I was going to bring up last week, but I forgot. Love to see Dean Henderson with the cap on. Give me Chris Kirkland vibes.
Oh, good save, wasn't it?
Yeah, great save.
To save a Kane penalty, you've done well. You don't miss many.
Yeah, but no, like you say, the hat. Love the hat.
Yeah, just-
really old school.
That is old.
Takes
It's
me
Chris
back.
Kirkland vibes.
Yeah, so I just
Yeah.
said. I just
shit.
said.
Yeah.
just said.
That's why I was in my head.
Yeah, I just said.
It's an echo
man.
in
Yeah, Jesus.
No, it's proper old school, and I loved it. And the way he was like doffing his cap, or like he was a batsman, like raising his bat to each side of the ground. I thought it was wicked.
Yeah.
Has he got
And
enough
you
time?
had Stuart Broad in the crowd as well, so maybe that was a little homage.
there you go.
Has he got enough time to get a secure number one spot for England?
Not number one.
No. I think it's more Dale or Pickford, isn't it?
I think we
Yeah.
Pickford.
He loves Pickford, though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And who would the third spot be in the squad? Just
Nick
out of interest.
Pope.
It's between Pope and Henderson, right?
Yeah.
I'd go Pope.
Pope's a baller as well.
Yeah, you got to see how they perform until like November. But I
just love him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we touched on
tweeting his own name. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
that
I don't know why everyone was tweeting it all of a sudden. I didn't look up what it was about, but
I don't know either. He just tweeted his own name and it was class.
yeah. But we touched on Pickford. Toffee's almost got a win actually at Brentford. That would have been a very good result. Gordon looked good. Looked very good, to be honest, from what I saw. Very direct. Obviously got the goal in the end, but he just seemed like a real handful for them. I mean, it looks like he will be staying now, so that's going to be big for Everton because other than that, they haven't got a lot. I mean, Brentford were peppering them. Like, I don't know. It looks like I don't know how Brentford only came away with a draw from that, but they did.
Yeah, I mean, I guess pretty lucky, from Everton, but I think Gordon it's important that he stayed at Everton, to be honest with you. And probably for them, he is like a £60 million player for them. You know, his importance to the team, shown by that game. Yeah,
well, I mean, he was linked. There was rumours about 25 mil plus Gallagher plus Broja for Gordon, which is absolutely absurd. But like you say, he has a different value to that team than you would just if you looked at it in absolute terms.
Yeah.
To the rest of the league, you'd say. But yeah, I don't know how. I think Brentford bring up XG again. I think they're about 2.5 versus about
classic
about
Mbuemo.
1. Yeah, I mean there was a one where Tony hit the post and it fell back to Visser and he blasted it over the bar and no idea how. But yeah, they're a good. Brentford are a good side.
Yeah,
they're a good side.
Still tipping to go down.
Yeah, I know. You're just waiting for that slump.
Yeah,
like, they had that slump last year. To be fair, could definitely
exactly.
Still come.
They started well last season. Really well. But we had another 1-1, but this one was full of bangers. Not really much of an amazing game, but Ruben Neves and St. Max with 2 very good goals.
I think that sums up Wolves perfectly. I think we touched on it last week. But
we
literally said pass, Ruben Neves long shot. That's literally what we said last week.
Yeah.
That is Wolves. I don't even know where. I don't know. Do they just need an attacking coach or something? But there's just nothing up there really. It just doesn't.
Well, I don't know the name of him, and I remember the pronunciation is quite tough. But today they're signing a striker for around 25 million, so that's interesting.
What's his name?
I haven't seen that. To be fair,
Kaladzic?
Something like that. I wasn't going to butcher it.
I might have butchered it.
You might have done well. You might have butchered it.
I
Who
don't
knows?
know.
You had an attempt. That's all that matters.
I had a go.
Yeah, but St. Max's goal was something else. It was pretty unreal. Shame he got injured. I mean, he's been just really hitting his stride, and they got Liverpool next, I think, which would have been a very good game, or might still be a very good game. Give Woody a go.
Yeah,
See what we can do.
he can bully Trent.
Did he start?
He started because Wilson. Yeah, Wilson was
He
out.
started the game. Maybe they'll play
Isaac. Yeah.
up front. We'll wait and see. And they almost snatched it at the end, didn't they? Newcastle, that young guy, whatever his name was.
That'd been a ridiculous turnaround.
Yeah, header against the bar. But yeah, 2 decent sides. It's a shame that Wolves haven't got off the mark yet because they're playing quite well.
They're better than what the table suggests.
It's the same thing as last season. They had the same first 4 or 5 results. All were just 1-0s on the wrong side, or tight draws, and they're not quite getting there. But they'll get there eventually. Very, very similar to last season.
I think you've had a good day. If you can beat Wolves by more than 1 goal, you've had a good day.
Yeah,
that's sort of how
very
they fall,
very stubborn. Very, very stubborn side.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. And at that same time, we had an interesting kick-off between West Ham, who were at the bottom of the table on 0 points at the time, and Villa, who free fall. I mean, West Ham managed to get a result.
Gerrard stinks.
Yeah. He's crap.
Although we are facing him on Wednesday, and if they win now, that's gonna be real.
You will pump them. Will pump. I saw
surely
the team changed again. It was Ings and Watkins up top this time. Buendia back out the team. Coutinho back in, chopping and changing. Clearly doesn't know. I'm seeing a lot of disgruntled Villa fans at this point with the manager, because they can see you've got good players in the squad. There is something to be had there.
If he wasn't Gerrard, he'd be sacked. That's a fact. I think they aren't even playing that well. There's no.
You can't see a plan.
Yeah, you can't see a plan. I think we touched on at the start of the season. We were saying how we don't really know how they want to play, what system they play. But you just look at Villa, it just feels very bland. You know what I mean? There's this every time you look, we talk about their fixtures.
It should be an exciting squad.
Yeah, you've got loads of exciting players. You just need someone to I feel maybe
Potter.
A Potter. Yeah,
they would do very well to get Potter in.
Yeah, I don't think they can't.
They're a big club, but they do very well to attract him now.
I think Potter to Everton probably makes more sense.
Better than that.
No, but I think Everton.
Potter to Leicester, I think, is more.
No, Leicester, they're bankrupt though. They've got no money.
Yeah, but
why would you go to? You want a team who's going to invest and you can really develop a.
But Everton can't spend anything.
Oh, Potter to Spurs.
Yeah, it's going to be a top six.
Potter to Spurs end of the season when Conte fumes when he finishes 6th.
Hopefully, it's after Southgate off this World Cup. Actually, no, I hope it's not, because that would mean Southgate's won the World Cup, because otherwise it should be Potter.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, it was... Sorry, I've literally just completely lost my trail of thought.
West Ham Villa.
Sorry, yeah, West Ham Villa. Yeah, I was about to touch on this, because I think it's an interesting point to bring up. With Gerrard, obviously, and we've seen Lampard, not completely having the biggest of successes as managers, do you feel that maybe it's not their time, and perhaps 10, 15 years ago, these managers would have really... made it as good managers, but the game has evolved to the point where the nerds win now.
You have to be an absolute tactician, and to be honest, I think I was listening to Gerrard talk about how he was learning. He took over the Liverpool under-18 squad. Where's he getting his coaching philosophy from? Where's he learning from? That's what I want to know. Because in any job,
could be Roy Hodgson at his time at Liverpool.
Yeah, there we go. Every you start a job. Every job in the world, you have a manager, and basically your job is to learn as much as possible from your manager, the line manager, and they teach you until you can get to their level. Who is he learning from? All these, the famous, Tuchel, all of them. They have Potter. Yeah, everyone has their grandmaster, the person they learn all their philosophy, the way they want to play from. Arteta with Pep, I think that's key. You need to have sort of build your philosophy and ideology off, maybe one manager or many managers, and create your own. But I don't know where Gerrard's getting his inspiration from. That's why I don't think they have a Gerrard way of playing. I think it's very much he's good at squad management. That's why he works at Rangers. I'm sure he gets the best out, motivating wise. But in terms of the Premier League, they are pure tacticians. As you said, pure nerds who are just insane. You have to be at the very highest quality.
Yeah,
to
I just think
in the Prem.
with Frank and Stevie, I'm you're far more suited to geeing someone up and
they're passion merchants.
Exactly.
Rather than football. Probably
they're not going to be shouting what was your average position within the game on a heat map at them, and I feel maybe the game's changed a bit where they would have succeeded in the past and perhaps are struggling a bit at the moment. But we touched on him there an awful lot because we can't stop talking about the Magic Man. I mean, Potter, another great result.
Yeah,
clean sheet.
Yeah, it was a shame that this one wasn't. I suppose we didn't really see much of the game. Do you know what I mean? Because Brighton and Leeds are two good teams to watch.
Yeah.
It's a shame we didn't get to see more of it. But good result. Leeds have been flying. So Brighton, good side. By all accounts, I think they thoroughly deserve to win the game as well. And Pascal Gross,
what a performance that was.
He's doing well, isn't he?
Yeah. Playing.
I brought him in an FPL on Friday night, and I was buzzing when he scored.
Yeah, that pet meme.
I knew he'd been doing well, and I thought, I'm just gonna get that turtleneck out.
He felt just like an absolute baller when you.
I went Rodrigo instead. 1-0.
Yeah, same. Tough.
But Gross looks. I think the manager said he's in form of his life. And I don't know, I mean...
Some of the passes he was making as well. It wasn't just the goal itself.
He set someone through on one-on-one, didn't he?
The
really
way the pass was unreal. It was on the volley as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. He's always looked quite good in the last couple of seasons. And he's not really had much of a career before Brighton. I think sort of lower league, not lower league, but sort of lesser teams in Germany. But he's really come into his own. And like you say, form of his life at the moment. So, fair play.
And Brighton in fourth. I said last week, Brighton top 6.
They look like the best of the rest, you'd probably say.
They do look like the best. Yeah, they do. Well, it's hard to build a case for your West Ham. Actually, no, wait, Newcastle Brighton. We had that game. It was a 0-0. I think that sums them up. That they're probably quite hard to call between.
Yeah.
In terms of outside that top 6.
Yeah, and just on Potter, he's stark contrast to Gerrard in terms of when you think of a manager, managers make players better. And with Gerrard, could you say that about any player at Villa? Maybe Jacob Ramsey gave some game time to.
Yeah.
Other than him aside, probably no one. But Potter, it seems like every single player has got way better since he's come into the club. We spoke about Welbeck in the first couple of weeks. Like he makes Welbeck look good.
You look at they got Solly March, mate. How's he still playing?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it because it was been my chat with Guy for years. Solly March gets maybe 1 or 2 90th minute winners a season. That's his role. He'll just pop up. He doesn't get anything. He gets 3 goals a season, but overall they're 9 points. That's it. Or honestly, yeah. So you'll see it or draw. Yeah, I'm telling you, Solly March winner. It's coming 1 point. Clip it.
But there's so many players who are just massively improving. I mean, Adam Webster's another one where I think he's a player that's destined to.
Yeah, he's really highly rated, isn't he?
Very good on the ball.
Dunk, that new left back Estupinian.
Yeah, I mean he'll be worth 50 in a year or 2.
Yeah. You're laughing. I think I did well.
I
did well there.
I was just laughing because it's just
no, he looked like a decent player, but they're onwards and upwards for Brighton. I think they look great.
Yeah, but it was a decent weekend of Premier League football. We also watched a bit of Paddy.
Yes,
Yeah.
we all watched that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it would be a test because Monaco do like a decent side. They've had a lot of investment this summer. It'd be more of a test than some of their other games. And it was to be fair. I mean, it was Volland. It was a lovely goal.
Yeah.
Really nice goal.
I feel, the question's always of Paris defensively. In the big games, they're so like fluid.
They have that head loss.
Yeah,
they really have that head loss.
They don't.
I mean, early doors, Neymar was like
he should have been off. How was he not?
The referee was atrocious.
He was awful.
He was awful.
He should have sent the Monaco guy off as well.
Yeah.
The camera, but he didn't get sent off. I thought. Yeah.
Did you see the commentators say refs had a good game, and then the other one was like, I'm not sure about that, and then they was like actually looking back at it, he's had a pretty bad game. I was like, that's quite funny.
Like not giving that pen when it was the most blatant pen.
Well, I think it's just Neymar tax. I actually really felt because as soon as I saw that, I was like, that looks Stonewall.
Yeah.
And when he didn't give it, I thought he's only not giving it because he's boy who cried wolf, where they think he's dived because it was as blatant as you could get. But I thought he was good. Messi had his moments. I mean, they had that bit where he was off the post and Mbappe should have scored. Mbappe's runs in behind are always, they're always so dangerous. But I think you touched on it even when we spoke about, during the game, you just gave a brief text about Mbappe. What are you going to say in regards to a bit selfish at times?
Yeah, I feel like you can. The thing about with Messi is when he played at Barcelona, everyone would just like in situations where it's relatively dangerous, so just pass it to Messi, and then he would create something. But here, I feel with especially Mbappe, he's very much like, I want to be the one who gets the goal. I want to be the one who gets the headlines. So he'll just drive on himself, and sometimes like put himself in situations where you're like, why you just run down the wing? There's not 2 on you. You could have just played it to Messi, who's on the edge of the box, and could have done something else. And I just feel, he's just generally much more selfish. And I think that is like a reoccurring theme with the Paris team. It's just quite, it's kind of a selfish, a lot of egos, a lot of selfishness. And I feel that you need players in that team who are gonna, run and sacrifice everything for the team. And I'm not sure there's too many of those characters.
I don't know. I thought they really missed Vitinha this week. Though,
Yeah,
in previous weeks, because I thought it was the midfield where Golovin was getting the better of a lot of them, and Camara.
Camara was
awesome, wasn't he?
I thought he was great.
I was looking at this. I was like,
who's this guy?
I was like, N'Golo. I thought you were injured. Like that's the kind of performance it was. It was everywhere.
When you just like look at a player, and you're like, I'm gonna look him up on Wikipedia and search him. Yeah, was it from Salzburg they got him or something? I think I'm thinking the right guy.
Bags of energy. He didn't stop.
Is he 23 as well?
Yeah, 22.
22. Yeah. He's got
doing a bit
quality.
of scouting, lads. We're doing well.
Yeah. We'll have to scout quality.
Yeah.
But it was the first time I'd watched PSG from minute 1 to 90, and I was pretty underwhelmed by it. I know
it was a bad week to join.
Performance in isolation, but I thought that Monaco were better overall. I thought they were more dangerous. I thought a player that I've not really seen much of, but obviously you hear a lot of, particularly on FIFA. Ben Yedder. I thought he was great. I thought he held up the ball really well. And he was a really good outlet for.
Well, he really comes out. He really uses the width as well. He's not someone who just sits in the 9.
Draws fouls. No, I thought.
I actually like French. I think French football is actually probably the second best league to watch, to be honest.
Other than I think the commentators refer to it, the way that they surround the referees is disgraceful.
But
they deserve it.
The referees in France are amateur.
Yeah,
even better.
Yeah, but you shouldn't get away with that. I think.
No, I mean, look, I don't know if that's just. Is that just from Paris? I mean, you're more familiar with the French league growing up, but
no, they like a complaint, But I think as well, maybe because they are amateur refs, they're like, we can probably get.
We can influence them.
Yeah. I think that could be a reason. Well, they're still pretty better refs than us.
I'm still backing Gaultier and the boys to do big ears, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was a one-off.
I still feel defensively they look sus.
Fair enough.
We'll see.
I've seen Monaco on a bad team, but it was interesting to see a test. But we do have our hat-trick of Blast from the Past.
Blast from the past.
And this week, it is Cruz. Me and Guy will be blind. We haven't got a clue.
So, the reason I'm choosing this guy, I thought to myself, I've changed 7 times this week. So I have a whole list of people who will be coming up in the future. And I changed this morning after seeing a video. And you know what? I'm going to bring him up. And the reason I want to bring him up is because I feel he's kind of underrated in the Prem. Underrated. He doesn't get the same amount of maybe hype as some of the other players. And maybe that's also partly because it's been in the past, but also maybe his stats don't show that. So I've chosen Dennis Bergkamp.
Oh, nice.
The reason why I think definitely didn't help his reputation, the non-flying Dutchman, that he didn't
Scared of planes.
Yeah, scared of planes. That definitely didn't help him. But you know what he achieved at Arsenal, he basically created the foundations for Arsenal to go on to be successful. That's why he's got the statue outside. I mean, if you look at his career, he's got one of the best World Cup goals, like last-minute win against Argentina in the quarterfinal. He's got that Newcastle goal, which is like infamous. I don't know if anyone. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever saw that video of Coutinho trying to replicate that goal. And there was like the FT freestyles used to do those things.
I've seen Ricardo Fuller score it better.
He didn't turn the same way.
No.
But
only bantering.
And Coutinho couldn't do it, and he was like, I don't know, because it's the way he does it. And I just feel he was one of those players at the time, a bit like, you talk about Glenn Hoddle, where maybe they were so technical, not for that generation, where Bergkamp was one of the most technical players at that time. Also finished Ballon d'Or, came third twice in the Ballon d'Or. It's just pretty good. And his most successful season in terms of stats was 16 goals, 11 assists in a 97-8 season. So I just feel with maybe the younger viewers, and they don't really get talked about. I was
going to say, I don't think stats is worth bothering when talking about a player like Bergkamp.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't do justice.
It was the way I think Henry said he was the best player he's ever played with. But I think what he means more, because he did play with Messi, the player he enjoyed the most with. Yeah. Because the way they all say he understood the game, maybe one of the first players, a bit like a Cesc Fabregas back in the day, where they saw the pass and what the move was going to happen before anyone else could, and he'd position himself in a place which create space. He would see the passes free ahead before anyone could, anyone on the pitch would understand what's going on. And I think that was something which, can't be, you don't talk about stats, everything. It's like the eye, what you can see. And I think that's what Bergkamp had, and he doesn't really get spoken about enough, maybe in like one of the great Premier League players. But there's no way he would get a statue outside the Emirates and have such a high reputation, in Holland and everything, if it wasn't for such an illustrious career, personally.
Yeah, he was a mad player. I mean, like I said, stats don't do players like that justice. I mean, he was a bit of an artist, wasn't he? I remember that assist, was it in the Champions League game? I can't remember if it was an Italian side. Was it Juve or something, where he has his foot on the ball and he sort of drags it round a couple of times.
Outside
and flicks it into Lundberg's pass, is it?
Yeah, I think
Lundberg?
so.
That in itself kind of epitomises what kind of player he was. He was very silky. He's almost kind of the player I want Havertz to develop into in terms of being quite... Yeah. He wasn't so much of a striker. His goal record never lends itself to that, but he was someone who just sat in behind and probably was incredibly important in Henry's development. Like the amount of times he'd thread him through.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think just the whole, even Arsenal, he changed Arsenal completely as a team who were a much more defensive team to more of a creative team. And that was all through Bergkamp.
Yeah, and in terms of changing the game, he was one of the sort of first successful foreign imports into the Premier League, and he kind of. Him and Wenger, in that respect, kind of changed the way that people saw football in England.
They modernised it.
Yeah, exactly. The way that...
That's 4-4-2.
Yeah, every player being British, basically.
Yeah.
Like, he came and he was an unbelievable player in the league. And because I think there was probably a bit of a stigma around bringing in foreign players. They can't hack it in the English football and all that sort of stuff. But even though he was so technical and not quite as sort of up for the fight as you'd maybe associate with your typical English player, he could just... dance his way around the pitch.
Yeah,
in that way.
And stereotypically, those players are a bit more weak, but he wasn't that. Like
he was
a physical
strong.
player.
Roy Keane said he was like I think it was Roy Keane. He was saying he was an absolute he was like rat. He was like he used to give you an elbow. Everyone was like, "Oh, Dennis is such a nice guy. I know he's horrible. He's throwing elbows, like kicking you and everything." And that's I think he got the English game. He understood what you had to do when you play in the Premier League.
Yeah, but you could say he underrated, yes. But I think he is in the Premier League Hall of Fame, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he is clearly recognised for being like, an unbelievable player.
I just feel like when people talk about, they always do
It's
like.
because it's hard. Like I said, if we talk about you go top strikers, he's not in there.
Yeah.
And then he's not in the midfielders either, so he almost gets forgotten in those conversations.
I never see his name ever in any of those. Yeah, exactly. In all the like all-time Premier League, they have a whole list, and he's never on there. And I'm like, why?
He's not got. I'm not saying this is justification, but like he's not got 100 Premier League goals, so you don't automatically think of him in that list. Like he, like you say, he does skip quite a lot of lists, and he's an in-between kind of player. I think it was John Hartson said, if he played in the snow, he wouldn't leave any footprints. Like that is such a great quote.
That's a great quote.
Like he is just that complete, classy, elegant player, and absolute baller.
Fun fact: he was Arsene Wenger's most subbed off player.
Interesting.
Which is, I think it basically shows how much we dominated games. Like, Dennis, come off. Don't need you anymore. Yeah. We're winning 5-0.
If he'd not been afraid of flights, who knows what Arsenal might have done.
Yeah.
I wonder who our most subbed on player was. Carnu?
Well, what
At
about...
that time,
probably,
yeah.
Especially if Bergkamp was coming off all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Well,
like for like, I just said.
Carney did score that great goal against Chelsea. That was Bergkamp-esque.
Scored a hat-trick, winner in the FA Cup final. Some player. Maybe Carno will come up one day in the past, but no time soon. But yeah, that was a very good option to choose. Enjoyed that. That was a lovely episode. We will wrap it there because we've got a place to be. We're busy people. But thank you for listening, all four of you that are here at the end. I know we went a bit more than four of you, but we had a poll on the Spotify.
Yeah, we did. We did have a poll, and Stefan Lichtsteiner won for the worst fullback in Arsenal.
I'm perfectly happy with that answer.
Yeah.
He was terrible.
He was shocking.
It's quite interesting because at the time, I remember it was sort of seen as more like, oh, okay, he's been playing at Juve. He might be all right as like a backup option, and he was just absolutely atrocious.
Bit of experience. He got absolutely peppered.
He was still playing for Switzerland, like in the World Cup and everything. I was like, what? How? Yeah, just terrible. He was slow, not physical, couldn't mark a man, but he just didn't have anything really.
Okay, but we'll leave the next question as, who was the better Dutchman in their prime between Bergkamp and Van Persie?
Great question.
We're talking that 2011 to 2013 Van Persie. That 2 years at Arsenal and United.
Yeah.
Those two were very good, and obviously Bergkamp was probably late 90s, I suppose. You classify it as that 98 to 2000 sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll leave that as the question for the Spotify. We hope you've enjoyed, listeners on Spotify and viewers on YouTube. You can find our highlights page, TikiTalk Podcast, on TikTok, and you can find all our handles in the YouTube info bit below. But we'll see you next week. Thanks for stopping in.
See you guys.
See ya.